For the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and begin with the Board of Finance meeting. So election of officers. I do want to remind our board that typically when we elect officers for the Board of Finance meeting that we try to keep the president and secretary similar on the normal board as well. So just keep that in mind. So I would go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. and we'll begin with election of officers. So I would like to open it up for nominations for the president of the Board of Finance.
I'll nominate Terry Barnhart.
Are you allowed to if you haven't sworn in yet? Yeah, I'm just making sure.
I'll nominate Kevin Boyer.
No, you're.
No, I mean Steve Stickler. Sorry, Steve Stickler for
You're out
the
of order.
president. Always.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a first for Terry Barnhart to be elected as president. I believe we had a second as well for that. And then
I'll
now,
second that if we need to.
Steve seconded that. We have a motion for Steve to be elected as the secretary of the Board of Finance. Did I have a second for that one? All right, Mr. Reddinger. All right, very good. At this time, let's go ahead and move on. Oh, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any other discussions to be had? All right, let's go ahead and move on to agenda item number 2, the investment report. Mr. McFarland, would you be willing to give us that information, please?
In front of you, you have the investment report. On that, you can kind of see December 31st balances for not only 2024, but 23 and 22 as well. You see the first row is how much we have at the bank, which is just over $4 million, and then outstanding CDs listed there. We have a total of $3.25 billion in CDs invested. And at the bottom, you can see interest earned for the past 8 years. In 2024, we earned $296,000 worth of interest. Comparing that just 4 years ago, 2021, where we received $8,000 in interest. That additional $300,000 goes a long way in the education fund. Any questions? Moving on to the cancellation of old outstanding checks. State statute mandates that we receipt in any check that was written 2 years ago as of December 31st. So we had 4 checks that were written in 2022 that were not cashed. You can see those 4 there. They will be receipted back into the respective funds, mostly cafeteria with a little bit of education and operations. Lastly, for the Board of Finance, the fiscal indicators report. It's a new report that we're required to go over. Probably started 2 or 3 years ago. The first chart there is average daily membership. And you can see for the 23-24 school year, we were fairly flat since 2020-21. We've had a slight incline, but over really the last 10 years, we've been holding steady. Demographics, you can see we've had an increase and continuing to see an increase in English language learners. And for last year, the free and reduced lunch population has grown. I think a lot of that you can see in 21-22. That was the fallout of COVID. Everybody got a free meal during that school year. Therefore, a lot of people didn't fill out the applications. Didn't need to, so that's probably why that number is so small back then. Looking at fund balances, the third chart, education fund, holding steady, slight incline over 2022. Operations fund, which is the tan colored fund, and I don't know if you guys have this in color on the.
No.
But if you pull it up online, the charts are in color. The operations fund, you can see we're starting to decline on that. We're using our cash balance there to fund some of our projects. Other than that, rainy day's been holding steady. Nothing out of the norm there. Annual deficit finance, you'll see in 2023 that we actually spent more than we took in. A lot of the main reason for that is bond funds. We sold a bond in 2022. You can see that revenue was much higher in 2022. We spent that money in 2023. So we do show an overall deficit, but it's just the cash flow between the 2 years. Fund balances as a percent of expenditures in 2022. Our cash balance was 56% of our total expenses. 2023, it's 45.9. That declined once again as we spent the bond funds, and so we don't have the cash on hand like we did 2 years ago. The last chart is revenue by type. Pretty consistent. You'll see a glitch there in 2020 and 2021 due to stimulus. State revenue has increased slightly. That's the big blue bar. The green triangles, that's the years we sell bonds. You can see increased revenue those years. Nothing out of the norm there. Operating referendum revenue is 0%. We don't have one of those. So, any questions on the fiscal indicators report?
Good job.
All right, any further questions for Tom or about any of the items that he discussed? All right, I will call the Board of Finance meeting adjourned at 7:07. Okay, we'll hop right into the reorganization session. We will begin with the oath of office, so I would ask Mr. Boyer and Mr. Redinger if you would please stand. Raise your right hand, and we're going to ask the oath of office be given by Mr. McFarland.
If you'll repeat after me, I state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Kevin Board, do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the State of Indiana.
and the State of Indiana.
I will faithfully execute the duties
I will faithfully execute the duties
of my office as a member of this governing body. Of my office as a member of this governing body. So help me God.
So help me God.
Good job.
Thanks for not doing more at a time on that than that.
Chunk it down just a little more next time.
Sorry.
No, that was good.
All right, congratulations, and thank you guys for your service. We're going to jump right into the election of officers, so I'm going to seek a nomination for President of the Triton Board of Trustees.
I nominate Terry.
Second?
We have a nomination and a second for Terry Barnhart to be the President of the Triton Board of Trustees. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion? Mrs. Barnhart, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, I would take nominations for vice president.
I'll nominate Kevin Boyer.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Whatever.
Motion passes. How about for secretary?
I move that we nominate Steve Sticker.
Second.
Been moved by Kevin, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. All right, how, do we want to keep our meeting on the second Monday of each month at 7 o'clock?
I move we keep it the same.
All right,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. All right, on to our, can I lump, no, I can't. Can I lump them? Okay. Our attorney, our treasurer is Mr. McFarland. Our attorney is from Bork and Boyne, is that right? The ISB delegate is Steve, or currently is Steve. The committee handbook is Wes. The textbook is, it says me, but I think it was Ken. Yep, that one's wrong. And the board policy that we call Neola is me.
I move that we keep those appointments the same this year.
I'll second that.
Been moved by Kevin, second by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
For the record, the only one that changed was textbook adoption committee, and that was Ken.
Yeah, in fact, it wasn't me last year. I don't know why my name's there, because you,
Coming up, it was,
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good, we'll make that
I
correction.
think you've done it 2 years.
yes,
Yeah.
this is second.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
All right, and the board member salary, currently it's $18.50.
I move we keep that the same.
Second.
Moved by Steve, second by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. You'll see conflict of interest forms in front of you. If you would sign them and, there's someone, and give them, I assume we'll put them back in the red folder when we're done. But they all need signed. Actually, it says only 4 of us have it. Is that right?
Yeah, because it's just if you,
You don't want to fill one out if there's
You
no
don't?
conflict.
if there's no
Okay.
conflict, yeah.
No.
Okay. If there's no other business in the reorganization session, we will move to adjourn at 7:11. And we will move on to our regular session, which we've already done the Pledge of Allegiance. So we'll move on to our consensus agenda.
Okay, I move that we approve the vouchers for last month. They total $1,143,755.23. We had 3 payrolls. One of those was our tag grant. They total $555,271.26. There were $250 worth of voids. So we have a grand total expenditures of $1,698,776.49. I will also move that we approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Okay, been moved by Steve, second by Ken. Any discussion or corrections? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to ECA and personnel.
All right, so we will lump these as much as we possibly can, but let's hold on to our hats. There's quite a few of them. So I would recommend the approval. These are from Rodney Eunice. Recommend the approval of Bethany Bentley as the varsity assistant softball coach and Tatum Hargrave as the JV softball coach.
So moved. Go ahead. I'll second.
Okay,
So moved.
I heard Steve and then Kevin. Any discussion?
Yes. Who's the head coach?
Brad Hargrave.
Brad.
He took over
Mhm.
for.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Next item, I'd like to recommend the approval of Megan Atkinson as the director of the 24-25 Variety Show, which has taken place, but also the musical production. Those are both paid separately within our collective bargaining agreement. So that's just making sure that both of those are approved and considered.
Approve Megan as the director.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next 4 or 5 items have to do with winter color guard. So I recommend the approval of John Bruner as a color guard volunteer, Jennifer Bruner as a color guard volunteer, Jessica Strebe as a volunteer, Shaylee Davis as a volunteer, and a Raquel Tuttle as the winter guard coach.
So moved.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Wes. Any discussion?
Do we need that many? I mean, I'm not gonna be, I'm not opposed to it, but
They are volunteers.
So they're volunteers. Something that I think is important with the question is the fact is that we have a fall winter guard and we have a winter guard. Both of which have different purposes. One is to work with the band, and the other is to work in their own competitions. As far as typically, we don't limit volunteers if that's recommended by the coach.
Okay.
And these were recommended by the coach.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I think it's also important, Mr. Stickler, to answer the question of, they won't necessarily be at like all the practices and all that stuff, but like during competition days where they have to take flags and all the items, that's normally when those volunteers are gonna be present. So, so to your point, they would probably outnumber the winter guard if they were all there at the same time, so that makes sense. That's a good question. So, all right, next item, I'd like to recommend the approval of Andy Barker as the head varsity football coach of Triton School Corporation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations.
Congratulations, sir. It's awesome to have your family here. Daughter's pretty excited about that. I think your son is too. It's good to see her in blue. Do you have anything you want to say, Mr. Barker?
I appreciate the confidence moving forward with the boys, and the culture that's going on here at this school is, this whole corporation is amazing. So I'm just looking forward to being a part of that. Thank you.
No pressure, just keep it up. All right, awesome. It's great to have you.
Shouldn't say we want that trophy next year, should I?
No pressure yet. I will give you guys the opportunities. If you don't want to like stick around for the whole thing, you're totally welcome to like enjoy your evening, but it shouldn't take too long.
Yeah, you guys are pretty efficient.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So next, are we good? We got that. Yeah, because we had him say something, so it was official. All right. I'd like to recommend the approval of Diane Murphy as the junior high girls basketball supervisor.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
And I know he's excited about this. He came just for this tonight. I'd like to recommend Matt Arvison for the junior high wrestling head coach.
Does he know anything about wrestling?
Any words? Any words?
Has he ever wrestled before?
Yeah, I think he's good. I think he's overqualified.
I'll move we hire Matt for junior high wrestling coach.
Second.
Been moved by Wes, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor?
Lucky to have him. Lucky to have him.
Thank you as well.
The next items deal with classified staff. We'll go ahead and lump those together, if you're all right with that. So I'd recommend the approval of Brian Lemler as a substitute teacher. I think maybe some of his plans have changed since he actually applied for that and got approved, but he hasn't got approved yet, so I apologize for just saying that. I'd like to recommend the approval of Zach Schaefer as the mentor for Amy Overmeyer. She has years of experience. She's going to do a great job, but in the end, just understanding expectations, again, talking a little bit about culture and just being there as a sounding board for her as she transitions to that position. And last but not least, I recommend Kathy Kuntz as an activity bus driver.
I move we approve those.
Second.
Moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to other business.
All right, I recommend the approval of the transfer of funds from the education fund to the operation funds as we typically do this time of year. And I'll ask Tom if he has any specifics to add to that.
No, it's the same amount as the past 4 years, I think. We'll transfer $1 million over the course of the 12 months on a monthly basis to help cover some of the costs that were shifted from the previously general fund to the operations fund, because the property taxes just doesn't do enough to fund that one. So recommend the approval of the $1 million transfer.
I move we approve that.
Second.
As presented.
Been moved by Steve, seconded by Kevin. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
I'd also recommend the appropriation transfer.
That one is at the end of the year, we're not allowed to overspend our budget. The 800 different accounts that we have, some of them get slightly overspent over the course of the year, and this just shifts the appropriations around, so it zeroes those out.
You read that line by line, didn't you, Ken? Bottom line was zero, that's all it mattered.
Mm-hmm.
I move we approve the appropriation transfers.
Second.
Been moved by Ken, seconded by Wes. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
The next item, I'd like to recommend the approval of tennis court repair quote from Tennis Courts Unlimited. Just so everybody's on the same page on this, obviously, we got new tennis courts probably 4 years ago now. So what this will do is crack fill any of those areas, really just to keep our brand-new courts good for the next number of years. The back court, obviously, are in greater need of repair. They haven't been used nearly as much, just because of the brand-new courts that are up front, but they will be also crack-filled, and they will be painted the same color as the front court. So all of our courts will match. We'll reevaluate the back courts in, a couple of years to say, is there a need to redo those or just keep with the front courts? So, but they will match and they will be all playable and obviously in better repair, so.
Is this a different, didn't we go get another quote or something?
We did,
And
we
that-
did. So we called some references, go ahead.
Yeah, we originally had 3 quotes, called references on those. One of the references said they used so-and-so. I called them to get a quote. They provided a quote. It wasn't what we really wanted. So we decided to go with the Tennis Courts Unlimited. And several companies, there's a patch fill and then there's a crack repair system. One company said that they wouldn't even repair the cracks on the back tennis courts, just they're too far gone. We decided to go ahead and try to extend a couple more years out of it. So this company is gonna crack fill and repair all 6 courts.
I move we approve that expenditure.
Ken, it's been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any other discussion? When will this take place? I assume summer?
Summer.
All in favor? Motion passes 5-0.
Actually, now that I say that, after the spring season is which would be summer, but it won't be done
So-
for this season.
Into May, beginning of June, I think is when he was hoping to get them in after the girls.
After the
done.
girls' season.
But before the boys would start practicing in the summer? Or
Yeah,
in the,
still summer, but in the end, not for the upcoming season just because of the weather. We good there? Okay. All right, last but not least, in front of you, you have the Cliff Notes version of the policies and administrative guidelines that were updated. A lot of those are technical corrections to the point. We are going to try to make that more efficient for everybody to see those in the board packet instead of trying to click on the link that seemingly has been difficult to track. So we're going to make that happen. But I guess my recommendation would be approve the first reading of the policy 36, number 2, the September 2024, policy number 36, number 2, September 2024, and policy volume 37, number 1, November of 2024.
I move we approve those as presented to us.
Second.
it's been moved by Steve, seconded by Ken. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. On to superintendent's report.
All right, I want to congratulate our Triton varsity girls wrestling team for a successful official first season as their own sport as recognized by the IHSAA. Congratulations to Bailey Nicely, Andrea Ford, Braylon Prater for advancing to the regionals. They have all their weights. I still struggle with that a little bit, I guess.
I thought they would do like weight class A, B, and C.
They advanced to regional, and they did a really nice job in their first year, so super excited for them. Placing, we had Macy Carson 5th, Jasmine Lemler 5th, Riley Beamish 6th, and Danica Moore 6th as well. So the team placed 6th overall in conference, I believe that was.
No,
So
we won the conference. It was
they won the conference. That was sectional. You were exactly right, because we have that picture of them holding the trophy. You're exactly right. So I questioned that after I didn't have that written. The IHSA has named Triton School Corporation to the all sportsmanship team as well. Cool. I know that was posted shortly after our board meeting last month, but that's an honor. Seems like there's a lot of teams on there, so I guess we were one of those, and that was good. So we weren't part of the second list, which is the naughty list, I guess. Shared leadership, so this Tuesday night, we have a lot of students that are trying to amp other students up to get to the varsity basketball game. We also have a patron that is going to be paying for a stipend or a voucher for concessions for any K through 12 student who comes to the game. So just continuing to incentivize that and getting some kids out there and cheering on their teammates and their peers. So looking forward to that. So shared leadership, it takes all of us to essentially show leadership, have common goals, and make sure those kids are involved in supporting their peers. I do want to congratulate, under the social responsibility, the Triton FFA was well represented at the state crops, forestry, and entomology contests. So we have Galen Harms placed 26th out of 62 students. Forestry, Rory Heckman, Juliana Firestone, Cameron Emmenacker, Caitlin Frick placed 20th out of 53 teams. Forestry Junior, Annie Creekbaum, Kelsey Frick, Addison Lemler, Izzy Redinger placed 10th of 23 teams. Izzy received first as an individual, so congratulations, Dad. To add to all of her trophy room, I don't know where you're putting all those things.
My dad built a metal thing, running out space.
Okay, all right. Crop senior team, Travis Barnhart, Colton Large, Brooke Kitch, Braden Nifong placed second out of 52 teams. Sierra and Savannah Hawley placed 35th. Shout out to Travis Barnhart for placing fourth as an individual, and Colton Large placing 8th as an individual. And then, of course, Crops junior individual Natalie Mevis placed 18 out of 70. And McKenna Emmenacker placed 19th out of 70. So just great job to those teams and representing Triton, their families, and our community well. Accountability, just a huge shout out, and we celebrated this together. Surprised Mr. Travis Barnhart. Terry, congratulations. Mrs. Barnhart, congratulations for him being a Lilly Scholar. So Brittany Cook, Wishart, was the only, from Marshall County. Dan Stichter and Andrew Chupp from Kosciuszko County have also been recipients of the Lilly Scholar. So Travis Barnhart was our 4th Lilly Scholar in Triton history, so that's a pretty awesome honor. So it's the first Marshall County Triton student in a long time.
18 years?
18? Is that what it was? Okay. So, yeah. So only one student in every county is chosen to receive this award. If you don't know what that award means, essentially if they attend a Indiana college, they get that paid for through the Lilly Foundation. So that's a pretty awesome honor. So congratulations. High expectations, talking a little bit about, I had the opportunity to meet with Chad Towner, who's the CEO of Lutheran Kosciuszko Hospital, to show him around Triton last Tuesday, share the mutual benefit of our partnership allows, and discuss how we can continue to make that more intentional moving forward. So he's new in his role. He was the interim. He has now been named as the CEO of that hospital and Lutheran Health Network in Kosciuszko County, and is excited to continue to partner with us. So that's positive news on our front. Alignment, Triton High School and Indiana Association of School Principals like to congratulate our rising stars of Indiana, Clara Dahl, Hannah Holland, Dolan Berkeypile, and Colton Reynolds for their academic achievement. Once again, this was announced just shortly after our board meeting last month, but deserving of the recognition, so congratulations to them. Tonight, I'm sure Mr. McCann's going to talk a little bit about the FAFSA night. So I will. So I took all of his other items. So tonight we had a FAFSA night for our seniors going to college. It is an expectation from the state that all students fill out the FAFSA, whether they need to or not. And so I want to thank Sarah Arvison and Ashley for taking the time to meet with our parents, walk them through that, answer any questions that they have. I know they had 2 experts, but I did not have their names other than I just posted them, and they gave me those names. And I don't know that anybody cares about that, but we do thank them for coming and being the experts in that conversation. So that's all I have. I'd be more than happy to take any questions.
All right, we will move on to patrons' comments. Anyone here have a patron's comment? If not, we will move on to building reports. If there's anything left for Mr. McCann to say.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
All right, we'll start with the elementary. Apparently, there's nothing going on there because Jeremy rarely takes my thunder.
That's true.
Oh, anyway, let's see. We finished last December before Christmas, our last semester, by collecting data on our students, primarily reading data, looking at their progress, analyzing the data by grade, by classroom, by student. They used the results to create new groups for reading interventions, which are now up and running starting this semester. We saw about a 14% gain overall, varied at different grade levels, in our reading performance. We're still not where we want to be, but we have a whole semester to go, so that's good news to see. We're currently giving IXL benchmarks in language arts and math to see how much students, again, have learned since fall and how close they are to grade level targets. I happen to be in 2 classrooms where we're actually taking those, and students get to see immediately how close they're coming to the goal or how far they've exceeded the goal, and that's a really good thing to see. Whenever we can get students to really look at their learning and feel proud of that and know where they're headed, I think is a really good thing, and that's something that not only teachers want to do, but we want to encourage and show students how to do that as well, so that they can continue to learn. Also, teachers are continuing to use the iLearn checkpoint data and retest opportunities to help prepare students for iLearn, which is coming up in April. This semester, we started the year with staff training. We had a number of staff members in crisis prevention training, and that's to help them with challenging behaviors, de-escalate situations so that they don't get to a point where we have to intervene physically, but if we do, then we know how to best follow up with that in a safe way that's going to protect the staff member and the students. We also had other staff members who worked on action plans and follow-ups from our December data meetings. This year, we will be administering in early March iRead to students in grade 2 and grade 3. We've talked about this before, but that's just another reminder. Second graders are not necessarily expected to pass, although we know some will. They're not required to pass, but if they do pass as a second grader, they do not have to retake it again as a third grader. We also welcomed 5 new students to start the first of the year, the new semester, and we have another one starting next week. Also, our staff, a little bit change up. Mrs. Sarah Kaufman is joining our cafeteria and office staff, replacing Mrs. Klotz, and we're happy to have her on the team. We hope Mrs. Klotz is enjoying her retirement. And probably in this cold weather, she really is. So forget that recess duty and getting up early. Anyway, today Macmillan Center representatives met with 4th and 6th graders to help them learn how to regulate emotions and handle stress and anxiety. That was paid for through a grant that Nurse Brenna and Stacy Sheets helped apply for. So we appreciate that information as well. Later this month, our 4th graders will have presentations called Vape Free and Me, and that's sponsored by the Marshall County Health Department. They basically do some presentations. They found out that they need to target kids earlier about vaping because by the time they do it at junior high and high school, it's a little bit too late. So they're doing it early, counting 4th grade as a prime time for that. Of course, our 5th graders will be doing DARE. We'll be having discussions about that as well. So we're glad to bring that to our 4th graders. They get to design a t-shirt, and the winning t-shirt will be made for all of them, and they'll all get a free t-shirt after that. So that's kind of a cool program. This will be the first time that we've done that. And then also this month, the 3rd graders will continue the tradition of attending the Shrine Circus in Fort Wayne, weather permitting.
All right, for a few updates from the junior senior high school, and yes, you pretty much wiped me out. Did you mention DECA?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't hear DECA, so
I did not talk about DECA.
Okay, well, I'll just start by saying, first of all, I can't believe we're in second semester in our second week, and we're already cruising, so I think we're off to a good start. But last week, on Thursday, we had a DECA contest. And we had, that's actually something that the last few years, Jeremy and I had, we've gone and we've judged different role plays, and it's a fun opportunity to see our kids in a different environment, in a different setting. But we had 4 students qualify to move on to the state contest, and 2 other students will go as voting delegates. And those students that participated are Maya Davis, Macy Carson, Allie Westifer, Hannah Holland, Caleb Popp, and Clayton Andrews. So congratulations to those students. We mentioned Rising Stars. Congratulations to them. Travis Barnhart, what an amazing accomplishment. FAFSA night tonight, yes, that was hosted by our counselors, but also Ivy Tech and those individuals. I just want to thank Sarah Langhorn and Tony Booker for helping us with that event. We actually had a really good turnout, so thanks for the parents and students for coming out. A lot of times you have those events, and not a lot of people show up, and you question yourself, but we typically have good attendance, and I appreciate that. A big thing on our to-do list this semester, and we've talked about it before, are the new diploma expectations that are going to be put forth for the incoming freshman class. So we've spent a lot of time going to meetings, having conversations with other schools and counselors, emailing and calling the state to just try and get more information. Right before break, we felt like we got a little bit more, but not everything, and we feel like we've just been knocking on the door a lot, asking questions. And I feel like we're in a little better place now. So the counselors have done an amazing job, so I appreciate Sarah and Ashley and just all of their work. We pushed back our freshman orientation to mid-February, hopefully that we can bring a final product to our parents. Don't really want to take that to them and not have it complete, so we feel like we're getting there. So February 19th, we will have freshman orientation, and I feel like we'll have some really good answers to questions when they come up. But anyway, a lot of effort and time going into our new diplomas. January 16th, we have a scholarship boot camp. We had one first semester, but as new scholarships roll out, Kosciuszko scholarships are becoming available. We want to make sure we have an opportunity for our seniors to come down and be helping fill out those scholarships and just make sure, we're just there to support our seniors. So we're going to have another boot camp coming up here. We have a lot of department meetings scheduled, and those conversations, the conversations at those meetings, it's going to be all about the new diploma. How does it impact individual teachers? How does it impact the different departments? And as we start to make decisions of what that Triton grad looks like, we want to make sure our teachers have some input and that they know what that looks like as well. And then the last thing is just bi-county tournament. That's always a really busy time, but it's also a real fun time in my opinion. And that's going to start the week of January 20th. So that's something for us all to look forward to. So that's what I have, unless you guys have questions.
I'm going to add something to your scholarships. A new scholarship this year, Quentin Blackford is a Triton graduate. He has committed $10,000 over the next 10 years. He has committed $10,000 over the next 10 years for Triton students. There is a matching scholarship if that individual would attend Grace College. So that's pretty awesome. So that can be given to one student, that can be given to 5 students based on those that qualify for that. He's obviously given some criteria of essentially what was important to him and what made him who he was. But we're just really excited to add that awesome sum of money to give to our kiddos from Triton. So that's one of the scholarships that will be added in that next boot camp. So pretty exciting.
And it's 10,000 over each of the next 10 years?
Yep,
Not
so a total-
10,000 over 10 years?
10 years.
No, 10,000 for the next 10 years for a total of 100,000. Yep. So pretty awesome.
All right, if there's no other business, we move to adjourn at 7:39.